Welcome back to the Love Your Story podcast. Today, I have titled this one, 7 Tips for Living Well from 7 Influencers. Near the end of 2019, a group of influencers met for lunch. Now, their purpose was for each to come to understand better the good that the others were trying to do in the world and to see how they might support each other and help each other along their individual paths. So it was one of cooperation and helping everybody to just doing some good synergy, helping push everybody along. Well, at the end of that 4-hour lunch and cram session, I asked each of those people to share with me and my audience one piece of advice that they felt from their experience was most important. The piece of advice that they wanted to leave for the world. And we proceeded to think and laugh and share our way around the circle. Stay tuned for these 7 tips on living well from 7 people who aren't just thinking about making a mark on the world, but are actually doing it.
Stories are our lives in language. Welcome to the Love Your Story podcast. I'm Lori Lee, and I'm excited for our future together of telling stories, evaluating our own stories, and lifting ourselves and others to greater places because of our control over our stories. This podcast is about empowerment and giving you, the listener, ideas to work with in making your stories work for you. Story power serves you best when you know how to use it.
In Oprah's book, What I Know for Sure, she says, quote, "I live in the space of thankfulness, and for that I have been rewarded a million times over. I started out giving thanks for small things, and the more thankful I became, the more my bounty increased. That's because, for sure, what you focus on expands. When you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it." Unquote. I want to start out this episode acknowledging a gratefulness for these wonderful people and all the other wonderful people in the world trying to create good, do good, and make the world better just because they can. So thank you. I also think that my advice, if I toss mine into this pot, involves this very topic. To create your best life story is to stay grateful. Gratitude reminds you that you are supported by something bigger than yourself. Gratitude releases chemicals that make you happy. Gratitude helps you focus on the good in your life, and that brings more goodness and magic and greater abundance. Gratitude is the key to living well in so many ways. Gratitude is a foundational tool to creating a life story that feels like it's full of magic. So people, my tip, stay grateful every single day. Take some time and focus on what's going right. Now, here's 6 more tips. Listen into our conversation and excuse the background sounds of doorbells, background laughing, and the occasional door closing.
I'm here today with the influencer group get together. So I am here with 7 very powerful influencers, people who have wonderful platforms, great advice, and are creating a lot of good in the world. And my gift to you today is sharing with you them, their platforms, and a piece of advice that they would give you to help make your life a little bit better. And first, we have Jennifer Anderson from 3 a.m. with God Journal and Life Inspired.
So if I was to give one piece of advice, and I always think about, okay, if I was getting shipped off to the moon and I had one thing to say to people, what would be the one thing? Because this is it. Like this, I can never come back and talk again. Like this is my one thing. And my one little nugget is listen. Listen and act. Meaning, listen to what your Father in heaven has for you and just simply take one step close. That's it. Just one step. And then it will lead to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing. All you need to do is first just listen and then act.
I like the idea of one step at a time, because so many times when I'm overwhelmed, if I can just look at the next step, do.
Yeah, just one next step.
Because the next step will appear.
It will. It
and you
always
don't know what
does.
it'll be.
Every single time.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Next, we have Rachel Reese.
Hi, Lori. It's so great to be here. I'm with the Davis Mindfulness Center, and mindfulness is a huge part of my personal life and what I talk about on a daily basis. And I think the one thing that I would say that I've been learning is the power of truly being present, of being here now. That's something I've been practicing, noticing how much I long for things that are off in the distant future. That doesn't bring me great fulfillment, but being here now with my life as it is, with the people I'm with, that makes things so rich and full. So I would say be here now, live in the present, and a lot of gratitude comes from that.
That's so in tune with mindfulness and what you teach. But as we focus on being in the present moment, I have to tell you that when I can do it, you are so spot on. When those moments when I can just get rid of what's going on in the background or what I should be doing somewhere else or what else, needs to be done or any of those hundreds of things, when I can just be present with whoever I'm with and look in their eyes and be in their energy and be present to whatever is unfolding, the connection becomes deeper, the experience becomes richer, the memories become more emblazoned on my mind. It becomes something that you are doing rather than something you are moving through as quickly as possible.
Yes, the
It's
heart
beautiful
really
advice.
opens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley. Hello. From Rethink Clutter. Is that
Yes. Yes, I'm Ashley Stewart from Rethink Clutter. I'm a professional organizer. And, I don't want to sit here and give you a tip and a trick about how to get your house organized. What I want to do is ask you to reassess your relationship with stuff. And more than reassessing it, I want you to reverse your relationship with stuff. Right now, we look at things to act in our lives to be a problem solver, when in reality, we need to look at our lives, recognize what problems are there, and then proactively look for the stuff that's going to help solve our problems. So instead of being a passive participant in life and attracting a house full of stuff that isn't going to serve us, I want you to get really, really connected with your relationship with yourself, with your family, with the lifestyle that you want to lead, and proactively look for the things that are going to be fulfilling in your life. And all of a sudden, the problem that we have with space and with clutter and with everything else will clear out because we're proactively curating the things that we bring into our life instead of being reactionary to advertising and marketing and Black Friday sales and all those things. So reverse your relationship with stuff. Stop expecting stuff to solve your problem. You solve your problem first, and then bring in the stuff that's going to help you with that.
One of the podcast episodes that I did early on the first year of the podcast was called Setting the Scene. And it was specifically about how we set, from kind of a playwright perspective, how we create the setting that our life unfolds in.
Absolutely.
And that we are in control of that. We don't have to let things into our home and bring things into our home and our space and our cars, wherever we're at, that we don't love.
Exactly.
That aren't important to us. And then, one of the things that I've always thought was interesting is when you get rid of things that you have had for a while, because one of the challenges in the 21 Life Connection challenges in my book is about decluttering. It's challenge number 2. Get rid of just one thing. Start on that path of getting rid of those items that are not important to you. And it's amazing the difference that it makes in your mindset.
Yes.
Like your energy releases as you get rid of things, your energy attachment to those things is released and you have more energy to invest in
it's amazing.
Your relationships, in being present, in listening for inspiration.
Yeah, right? People will say when they declutter, they lose 10 pounds and 10 years. It's amazing, but it has to start with you.
And you have the control over it.
Exactly.
Love it.
Exactly.
Thank you. Welcome back, Happiness Guru. This is Andy.
Yes. So my piece of advice would be to, if you feel like you're stuck and you feel like you're not happy right now for whatever reason, ask yourself, is it because there's a past version of yourself that's trying to live their dream? And look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and just allow yourself to live your current dream. Like, what dream do you want right now? And try to do whatever work you need to do to really let go and thank that past version of yourself for the dream that they had. But it may not be your dream right now, and that's okay. So that's what I would...
So you're talking about shifting, really, allowing yourself to shift and change and be fluid as your life progresses, because we're always in changing in one way or another. And that if you are present to the person and the dream that you are at this point, then you're going to find greater happiness than trying to live a current dream from a past persona.
Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome.
Very important.
Tell us a little bit about your platform, since I sort of slaughtered it in the beginning. You are with...
You're totally good. I'm Andy Proctor, and I'm with More Happy Life podcast.
Tune in.
Check it out.
Thanks, Andy. Lindsay Kerr is with us.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Kerr with Mixed Faith Marriage Coaching, and I coach mixed faith LDS couples who are going through, one of them is going through a faith transition, and I help them figure out the path that they want to move on forward and how they want their new marriage to look and help them to get there.
Awesome. So what's your one piece of advice?
I think my one piece of advice that I see time after time with my clients and in my own marriage as well is just the importance of meeting your own needs, kind of figuring out what it is you want in your marriage and in your life, what your desires are and your hopes and dreams are, and then figuring out as much as you possibly can how you can meet those needs on your own so that you don't have to watch and wait for someone or something outside of you to change in order for you to feel better or feel however it is you want to feel right now.
Thank you. Can you give me an example?
Totally. So lots of times, especially with mixed faith couples, I'll see one of them kind of hoping that the other person will change their perspective to match their own and thinking that that will make things better in their marriage. And so they'll wait and hope and sometimes push and try to persuade or convince their spouse to see things the way they see things because they think that will bring marital harmony back into their lives. And so often what it is just their own insecurities surfacing. And so when they're able to kind of figure out what those are and meet those needs for security themselves, then they can just let their spouse be whoever it is they currently are right now without needing them to change in order for them to feel good.
Oh, that's a beautiful piece of allowing advice, isn't it? We could all do with a lot more allowing. Thank you, Lindsay.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Mel.
I'm Mel Miller with Heartworking Ladies of Utah. It's nice to be here today. Thank you, Lori, for assembling all of us.
You're welcome.
My piece of advice for today, I think, goes back to a message that some of us need to hear more than once in our journey of whether it be motherhood or fatherhood or entrepreneurship or defining a career, if you will, is just knowing that all the pieces that you need at the time that you need them will present themselves. They may manifest themselves from greatness, or they might be something that you decided to hold on to, part of that stuff you've got in your back drawer that you finally need. But at the end of the day, if you're needing to do something or make something happen, there is someone in your life, there is some tool, there is some person that you can connect with that can help you take that next step. You don't have to know how to do everything yourself.
The thing that I love about that mindset is that it's empowering and it's faithful, meaning it's full of faith in a belief that what you need will show up when you need it. And to me, that's a less scary place to function from than the, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this next thing happen? When you can live from a space of, I believe that I am supported by the universe and that what I really need will really show up in whatever form, as you've mentioned, there's a much more peaceful way of being.
I agree, Lori.
Thanks.
There's this sense when you were a child that they said you had to make sure that you proactively thought of everything in order to be, right? We were taught that we had to think about all those things ahead of time. And I don't think that that's really the case. I think knowing what it is that you want to accomplish and then showing up every single day and looking at it straight in the face and knowing that today you have everything you need in order to make that happen, whether it be inside of you or somebody that's in your life. So thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
I'm Rachel von Niederhausen with Family Humanitarian, a humanitarian organization that focuses on helping families around the world, so in the U.S. and in other countries, to gain more access to the ultimate goal of self-reliance. So through basic necessities of life and through education, and then accessing the power inside of themselves to really make the choices that will help their lives become what they want it to be. So we do that through expeditions and through village-driven projects. So my advice is to remember the power of one and how that plays out in your daily life and how that plays out over a lifetime, and just how each small act or choice or thing you can do to help someone else out and how it ripples out. Just the power of one.
I love that in so many ways. And what it makes me think of is when we do the Random Acts of Kindness days, or with Life, the 21 Life Connection Challenges, the first challenge is to do a random act of kindness. And when we speak about ripples, that's what I think of, because when you do a random act of kindness, you don't know what the ripples are. You know, you may buy somebody's lunch in line and, you know, maybe it was their last $10, or maybe it just put them in a good mood so they didn't go home and beat their wife, or, you know, who knows, right? But there are all kinds of triggers that you don't know what your little teeny act of kindness actually did. You don't know at all what it was. And it's the power of one. It's the power of one act. It's the power of one person. It's the power of a positive thought over a negative thought, but always just the power of one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the power that service has to get us into that space of gratitude and joy. It's one of the top ways that you can really change your mindset in your life.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in this week. This week's challenge is to choose the piece of advice that really stood out to you and consider how you can live it in your life. I know at least one of these suggestions probably grabbed your attention and made your mind wander in your own thoughts around how this might apply to you. Well, grab that piece and take 2 steps. The first is think on it and why it caught your attention. And the second is act on it. What does your gut tell you you need to do with that piece of advice? And then do it. Hey, a couple announcements. In 2020, I started a new section of Love Your Story called Tell Your Story. If you are interested in collecting your story in audio format for posterity, or if you have a family member or friend that you would like privately interviewed to collect their story, contact me at LoriJLee@msn.com with Tell Your Story in the subject line. And also, don't forget, we've got the website, loveyourstorypodcast.com. You can also get all your links for all of the past episodes and your link to buy your own copy of Life, Living Intentional and Fearless Every Day, the 21 Life Connection Challenges. And that's it for today, people. Share the love and have a wonderful week.